Rent increases. Just hearing those words can make both tenants and landlords uneasy. Tenants want to keep their homes affordable without feeling squeezed, while landlords need to adjust for rising costs, regulations, and market shifts. So, what's a reasonable rent increase in 2025? Let's break it down. The average rent increase typically falls between 3 to 5%. But why do rent increases happen in the first place? They aren't just random hikes. Several key factors drive these changes. First up, economic conditions. Inflation affects everything, and landlords feel it too. Property maintenance, taxes, and service fees are constantly climbing, and sometimes rent increases are sometimes the only way to keep up with these rising expenses. Next, we have housing demand versus supply. Right now, the demand for housing is outpacing supply. That means more renters competing for fewer available properties, which naturally drives up costs. Local market conditions also play a major role. In Baltimore, rent increases vary by neighborhood. Hotspots like Federal Hill and Canton have seen significant jumps, with one-bedroom apartments surpassing $2,000 per month. These areas are growing rapidly, attracting new residents and businesses, which pushes prices up. On the flip side, neighborhoods undergoing redevelopment or with less demand may experience more stable rent prices, or even slight decreases. Then, there are government policies. Rent control laws, tenant protection measures, and housing subsidies impact how much rent can rise. Some cities have strict limits on increases, while others leave it entirely up to market forces. Keeping an eye on local regulations is crucial, whether you're a tenant or a landlord. But what about the bigger picture? Across the U.S., rent hikes vary. Industry leaders like Redfin and Azebo report that rental rates have increased an average of 3 to 5% annually. However, in certain metro areas, the numbers are much higher. In Cleveland, for example, rent prices have jumped by 7%. Providence has seen a 6.2% increase, and Chicago isn't far behind at 5.8%. Housing type also matters. Single-family rentals have increased by 4.4% in the past year, while multifamily properties have seen a lower spike of just 2.4%. In some cities like Raleigh and Phoenix, multifamily rental prices have actually dropped. This is an important distinction for both tenants and landlords to consider when evaluating rent increases. So, how does Baltimore compare? Baltimore's rental market has seen a more modest 2.4% rise. The average U.S. apartment costs around $1,500 per month, while in Baltimore, it's slightly lower at $1,479. That's good news for tenants, as it means rent increases here are happening at a slower pace compared to many other cities. And for landlords, it provides reassurance that moderate increases remain competitive and aligned with market conditions. Of course, when it comes to rent increases, there are legal considerations too. Baltimore and Maryland don't have rent control, meaning there's no set limit on how much landlords can raise rent. However, there are laws about providing proper notice. If a tenant has lived in their unit for over a month, landlords must give at least 90 days written notice before raising the rent. For shorter-term tenants, the required notice periods vary between 7 and 60 days, depending on the lease agreement. Landlords cannot raise rent as a form of discrimination based on race, gender, disability, marital status, or any other protected class. They also can't hike rent in retaliation for tenants exercising their legal rights, such as requesting necessary repairs or reporting unsafe conditions. Additionally, failing to provide proper notice before increasing rent is a violation of rental laws. So, what is a reasonable rent increase in 2025? For landlords, setting the right rent increase is a balancing act. Raise it too much and you risk losing tenants. Keep it too low and you may struggle to cover expenses. For tenants, understanding these factors can help you anticipate changes and plan accordingly. At Bay Property Management Group, we help landlords set fair, market-aligned rent increases while ensuring tenants feel valued and heard. Our services go beyond just rent collection. We handle maintenance, accounting, tenant communication, and so much more, making property management stress-free for landlords and tenants alike. If you're looking for guidance on navigating rent increases in 2025, contact us today. We're here to help you make informed decisions that benefit both landlords and tenants.